Ladies and gentlemen, madame, monsieur, hello and welcome to the channel of Genera Blue. Today I'm back with a Wargame European Escalation replay cast. And what I'm going to show you today is a Conquest mode game on Touring World featuring WTF against the Morbid Reapers with Firestarter, his crazy cousin, and myself on Naruto's side, and Doji D, Akaramba number 5, Spectre and Valkyrie on Pact side. As far as I can remember, this was 4,500 starting points and 5,500 points to reach. So right now we're starting here. Already skipped a bit of the initial deployment phase. Some fast fox action by myself here to capture Juliet. Firestarter is going mid and I was trying to deny Pact Alpha, because Alpha is 6 points on this new map which came with the new DLC, and Waitman is going hotel. And now let's watch the same thing from the WTF or Pact side. Some very heavy force here with T80s and silos, and this will put us in some trouble during the game. What we can see here is just basic infantry, some sailors, some books. One T80 again, they are using a lot of T80s, I noticed. Also here the 80, a lot of infantry, just the usual stuff you see in the game. They are also going for Charlie. I think there must be some artillery somewhere, but probably not yet. First firefights are about to occur in Bravo. My folks advanced into Bravo just because I can, because I was a lot faster than them. The initial plan was to deploy them around here, but yeah. So now I'm moving down to that kind of to that forest, and Pack is also moving its infantry in. Some infantry skirmishes up there in Alpha. Nothing too significant, just we said you against the Jaegers. And the Jaegers win just because they're a bit more. Again, we said you against Jaegers. Same pictures. They will be here. Both native side and Pact side have their command in Alpha, therefore denying each other the sector, which is very easy and also very important in this game mode. Because Alpha is a huge sector and you can just position commands everywhere. Let's take a look at the firefight over here. Motorschützen against Jäger. Motorschützen are the superior anti-infantry unit with HE2, while Jägers only have HE1. Therefore they are effectively dealing twice the damage of the Jägers. Take a look at the points on the right side. NATO is at 1,060 points just because we left more points in reserve, and Pact is behind with 600 points at the moment. Doesn't mean too much yet. Artillery fire on this positions over here, and NATO, okay, us, is losing their position up there in Alpha just because the Motorschützen are superior and are a lot more. Driving up the martyrs up there won't be a good idea, I think. What's happening in Hotel is that, well, we have captured the sector, but they have a lot more units in Hotel. They also are now positioning their BM-1K somewhere in Hotel, so I guess it will be denied very soon. Still, Pact has the best position at the moment. Looking at that, there's just a large force of Waitman standing around in the open doing nothing, and some infantry in that forest also doing nothing, while the rest of his troops get ripped apart on the right side. NATO has managed to fortify themselves in Alpha and in the town left to it, which is very important, I think, while Pact was able to take Bravo. Some firefights here. Motorschützen were able to sneak in and attack those MBT-70s, which are now attacked from the other side by some sailors. I think this is not going to look good. there is some IHM units in those hatchways, some Milan F2s up here, so that should be a pretty safe position for NATO, I hope at least, because my command over here is not, well, the most well protected. And what I didn't notice while playing is that Pact has positioned some infantry right here in our initial deployment sector. It's not enough to take my command out yet, because there are some autocannon units and 2 Legion from us, but I guess it will make for some interesting scenes during the later game. Now, NATO is trying to take that town, and so there are some other ones, autocannon vehicles, and I guess some Jaegers over there. Yes, Jaegers. Let's see if they can actually get those 45 VPZUs out of their positions. I don't think so, just because, well, they are superior infantry. Let's see. No, this may even work. No, it doesn't. Nah. You see, 10 men of VPZU just wiped 4 men of Jaegers. Is that a new color for newly called in units? Ah, that comes in handy. Interesting. I didn't mention it in the changelog. However, Pact has now spent even more units, so they are down to 300 points, while NATO has 1,200 points, which can be good and which can be bad for Pact, because if they spend, they obviously have a lot more units to attack our zone reserve. On the other hand, they will have to do a lot better work in, well, in just retaking the points. Some Danas have been positioned over here in Charlie, and are now shooting on the position I've established over here, and managed to destroy 2 MBT-70s. Not that it would matter in this game mode, because losses just don't matter at all. This BRDM-2U has lost a lot of health points, I don't know why. And now the attacks have been come to a halt on all sides. Some little sneaky attacks with folks on this side, but there are flamethrower units, and that's not gonna good end well for the folks. Yes, and Afghansky, which are also really good anti-infantry units. So now I don't think this will end good. Then there are some sailors and some enemy ITVs. At least we got sight on the BRM-1K in this sector, so we are able to shell it, which is now happening with the AMX RF-1, which are sitting back in our base. I'm not sure if you're hitting anything, but it should at least be possible to damage them. They have fortified themselves in Bravo, while the NATO defences in Joliet are very weak, and there is only some Fernspeers and Milans up in this wood. Some Legion from Master Projector Command, and some more Fernspeers and Milans up here, and 1 Bradley CFV. That's not a whole lot. So now I had to make the decision whether to spend on a better defense or just take the risk of my command getting destroyed. And that's what's actually very interesting about this game mode, because you have to make decisions. Do I want to spend or do I want to save? It's just not a very easy decision. I often find myself only deploying like 2 units of infantry at a time, because I think this must be enough. Now we see that Pact has managed to position themselves in our initial deployment sector in India, and they have had control about that building. I managed to pull off a win with my Legion from us, a very well, not a very clear win there. I lost nearly all of my Legion from us, and I'm sneaking in with my AMX-10P, which are very good vehicles, because you can order the Legion from us in them, making them a very good combination of devastating anti-everything units. I really love my Legion from us and the AMX-10P. Now I'm retreating, just because I see I can't win against this Motorschützen, and what they do is going after me, and I don't think that's a good idea. But let's get back to the main battlefields, where actually nothing is happening. So back to that little interesting skirmish. So they're coming up the hill, and I am in range of them. Well, so much for that plan. So there is still motor shooting right in our deployment sector. This is not good, especially as they're now sneaking around here, which I expected, but I didn't do anything against it for some reason. Now the Pact is summoning their troops for a big assault on Alpha, coming from all sides with T-80s, sailors, and a whole shitload of infantry. However, their positions have been hit by artillery fire, and oh goodness, I'm not sure if this is going to end well, because this is a lot of infantry they're pulling up here, probably motor schützen against some 30 Jägers. Yes, they are motor schützen, and it seems like NATO won't be able to hold the middle part of Alpha anymore, which is very, very bad, because the middle part of Alpha is a game deciding factor, because who holds this can hold Alpha, and therefore deny the other side's income. And if you look at that, between those buildings and the command back there, there's absolutely nothing which could prevent Pact from destroying the command back there. And if they manage to destroy the command back there, they basically win the game, because Alpha is just a 6-point sector. That's a huge amount of income if one side managed to take that. I must say the map design is very, very interesting in this one. Some Muslim from nothing coming to secure that town, but they don't help a whole lot, because the command and the artillery are both unprotected back there in Alpha. Some helicopters are now, yeah, they are already there. There's some ATGM helicopters. They are not gonna be particularly helpful, especially if positioned like that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it seems like it does. Still, the ATGM helicopter won't be able to do anything against those infantry units. This massive amount of tanks back here. Points around at 900 to 800 points, so it's pretty equal. Income is also exactly, no, not exactly equal. NATO side has a slight advantage, because we are holding both our initial deployment sectors. So now it's actually a question of whether or not Pact can destroy the command in Alpha, or not, because if they can, they just basically winning this game. They are also spending, Pact is also spending quite some money right now for something. I don't know for what. Oh yes, there's a command unit incoming. Probably to secure Delta. I don't see any other option. Well, there is no other option. Danes are still firing and are really, really annoying. Now they are firing just at the periphery at the moment with no real aim, and I don't really know what the hell they are doing, because there is really nothing right there. 5-star has now called in a Leopard 2A4. Well, we have managed to destroy those few motor schützen which were left here. Pact has managed to position themselves right behind our command without us noticing. As you can see, that's all we can see of what's happening in India, which is very bad, because what we don't know is that Pact is all over the place. They're in here, and they're up in this forest, which is very unfortunate for us. Yeah, it is very, very unfortunate for us, because that basically means that our main deployment routes are blocked. I don't know what the plan is with those infantry units, but I think I'll soon figure out. Launch a little attack on this town, only to see that it is heavily defended by all kind of stuff, and it's practically impossible to take without artillery support. My initial plan was to go back there for the Danas, but yeah, just took the wrong route, the wrong way actually. I just could have gone around the hill I just avoid the town, therefore destroy the artillery, but yeah, I wasn't smart enough for that. Very fortified positions in Alpha, for whatever reason, because there is just simply no defense up there. Some motorschützen incoming are now being ripped apart by the Leopard 2A4 and the incoming AMX-30B Belarus. What's happening in Hotel? NATO managed to fortify their positions in Hotel with a lot of infantry and managed to push back Pact nearly out of the sector. They are now only troops left of them is now in that kind of town and up there on that hill, and that won't particularly help them. So I take it Hotel is in safe hands at the moment. Same for Gulf, and relatively the same for Joliet, which is kinda encircled at the moment by Pact troops, but not an awful lot of them. So I guess that this can actually resist an attack by those Pact infantry units. What's happening right now is that nothing happens. There's some little skirmishes over here. I managed to do a lot of damage to those infantry units that I was not able to destroy them entirely. I just have to mention that both teams have been on Skype. As far as I'm aware of, at least NATO team was on Skype. I think WTF also was on Skype, as far as we were informed. And we also had quite some technical problems getting into the game, because a lot of people who kicked at the beginning of the game, which is kinda well, popular since last patch for whatever reason. I don't know what they did, but somehow seems to make the game a lot more unstable. And now also called in 2 BM30 Smurge, which are, well, annoying as shit. Now Pact is coming up this hill with their infantry. Points values 1,400 to 300 for the simple reason that Pact just spent a ludicrous amount of points, and I think they just overspent themselves, because 1,000 points behind is just a whole lot, and I don't think that's a good idea. But let's see how this plays out. Now my Milans and French Bears are ripped apart simply because they managed to strike here just so many that I can't do anything against them, even with my elite T infantry. The only thing I managed is to, well, damage them, and now they are shelling their own infantry. Issue you see very often, the WTF is just shelling its own infantry. That's very, very unfortunate for them, because they're just losing their own infantry to their own artillery fire just because it didn't pay enough attention at that moment. That just was very good for us. I mean, I didn't have to spend any points to retake that hill because I knew that they just shelled their own infantry. Alpha is still denied by both factions. Now the Pact has just a whole lot of a better position. I don't know why they didn't attack, because this would just have overrun our don't know, 2 units standing here. I mean, there is just effectively no defense in Alpha, absolutely none. Some little infantry pushes incoming on Juliet, nothing too dangerous, just scouting missions, I guess. Easy to gain good time by my EGM units up here and by my infantry and autocannon vehicles down here. It's a very easy to defend sector, I think, because you can just fortify yourself up in those hills. Switching over to night sign of view again. So what we see now is that Pact has spent a lot of points into an army while NATO didn't, and that's two very interesting tactics. Is it better to spend points or is it better to keep points in this game? Well, it's a very interesting question. We will see who wins this game, but at the moment NATO just doesn't spend anything at all. We have 1,600 out of 4,000 points. Pact has 500 out of 4,000 points. So we will see how this will play out in the next video, because this is a 40-minute time game, and I just want to split it into two parts just because it's easier to watch for you and easier to make for me. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and as always I would really appreciate your comments, your rate, and of course your subscribes. See you on the next one. Je vais plus.